Welcome to another episode of Searching for McGuffin with your hosts, George,
Gabe.
And Link.
Is that my cue?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So this week, I guess I was handed the baton, mainly because this is a
episode on the Olympics.
Yes, literally.
Oh, actually,
that's a pretty good
that
one,
kind of
actually.
tracks, actually.
We're going to be talking about sports and the world of sports, and why it's such a big thing that everyone goes crazy for. Why people, the different ways of people like look at it and see it, and why people enjoy it, and why it's such a important part of people's lives. I think I'm one of them, but I also think you guys have your own sports, I think, right? Which we'll get into.
No, I don't.
You keep on
Nothing?
saying white people, and I keep on hearing white people.
That's exactly why. That's exactly why I said that.
That's exactly white. I
White.
said that.
But yeah, I guess the most recent,
Wait. So you said white people love sports, but you guys have your
Yeah,
own
your
sports.
sports, yeah.
That was controversial there, my friend.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
you guys?
who's you guys?
What are you guys talking about?
Who's like you people? White.
People,
you white. And
I didn't say white people.
I know, but that's what it's.
That's what it-
I'm not yes-ending that one.
Okay.
I will not be
Right.
made to be the villain in this narrative.
I love how you just cut to the chase. It was like no foreplay at all. You're just like, today's about sports.
I don't have your talent. But yeah, I think the biggest sporting event that we've had recently is the World Cup that just passed.
Oh, did
This
that
past
just
year.
happen?
Yeah, did you catch any of it?
I caught a lot of it because
Really?
it was during school time.
Yes, that's right.
So it was like it was both the most annoying but also kind of like heartwarming thing because it was just like kids constantly like, can we watch the game? No, we actually have class. Can we watch the game? No, we have like, you have a test. Did you not study? Oh, I stayed up. I was watching the game. And
All your students sound like this?
yeah, all of them. They all sound like this. But then it gets to the point where it's like, can we watch the game? And I was like, it's Friday. I'm tired.
Why
Yeah,
not?
let's just watch the game.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
It's like, oh, you today's classwork after the reading, it's homework now if you want to watch the last 30 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So it was nice, kind of like bonding. It was annoying. Like, I think I confiscated the most phones ever in the history of any period. But then there was this one day that was like a long week and we had assembly and everybody was tired. You could just see it.
You
like,
could see it,
yeah. I don't know if it was like around midterms time or what, but just everyone was exhausted. And then the game was on like before assembly started. And then it just kept playing. And then that's just what assembly was. And like everybody got super into it.
Do you remember who was playing?
It was Brazil.
Yeah.
It was Brazil versus I don't remember who it was.
Did Brazil win or
Yeah, Brazil won.
Yeah, Brazil
Oh.
won. Yeah. And
It was the best assembly. Like,
yep. And it just kind of happened. Like nobody said anything. Nobody started the programming.
Everyone
Like
was
they were
everyone was
not
just on the
announced.
same.
and
Yeah.
I just feel bad for the person that had planned an assembly.
Yeah.
Because, like, there was nothing you could do. You were just, the kids really wanted to watch this.
Yeah.
And if you didn't give them that, they were ready to riot.
Yeah. There's always next assembly. It's fine. Sometimes you have to make those, like, in the moment decisions.
Audibles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to call audibles. Oh, that's a sports
Dang.
reference. Is that what that means?
Omaha.
Wait, but I listened to the show on Audible. Are we a sports show?
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
Oh, we're not on AM radio.
But it's not just like in school and work and stuff. It's just like in life. Sometimes like you make plans and you got to see those opportunities, and sometimes you just got to let go.
Yeah.
So.
No,
And it ended up being one of the most, I think the students ended up bonding a lot more
Mm-hmm.
than whatever the person in charge was going to do.
Yeah, and for like one day, they were like, "Man, it's cool to come here."
Yeah.
Like they forgot about it the next day already, but like that's it. Like today is a good day. Yeah.
No, I think that's like part of the, the grasp that event has. I think
Mhm.
particularly being one of like, it's like they call it the world's game. Soccer's or football's the world's game.
Yeah.
And I just think it's interesting when that, like, anytime, because this was the first, like, I don't know, I mean, back then, but I mean, in recent history, the World Cup's never been During
Yeah, it's always
Christmas,
during the
November.
summer.
It's always over
Yeah.
the summer, but it would be too hot to where they were playing.
Where
it at.
the yeah,
In
there was
Qatar.
just too
Yeah.
much blood money in.
Yeah, and
in
even
it.
then, the corruption and like the scandal of like why and how it ended up being there was just another story. But it was definitely an interesting experience having it in November and December, and like the holiday season.
It was fun.
and
Yeah.
having it was interesting. It was a good experience, I think. Yeah, no.
So you're happy that it was in Qatar? Got it.
yeah, pretty much.
Confirmed.
You're
All right.
happy that journalist died.
No,
Hey, yo.
no,
Hey,
whoa,
yo.
whoa.
Oh, we're shutting that one down. We're not.
No, he our producer's not on the episode to do it in real time now, so I'm pretty sure he's not gonna go back and do that. Yikes.
But I think for the most part, I think the ending had everyone they got a happy ending. In sports, with Messi and Argentina winning,
Well, no, I mean not everyone.
Not the French.
not the
Yeah.
Brazilians. Well,
Yeah, not the Brazilians either. Not just anyone who doesn't happen to.
I don't know.
Lost
A lot of
support.
neutrals that don't have their country represented. I mean, we didn't have Colombia representing and stuff like that. And obviously, maybe we shouldn't be cheering for Argentina. But
Yeah.
I think
I root
not-
for South
I
America.
think not
all the
even
time.
I think not even just it being Argentina. I think a lot of people were just cheering for Messi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like arguably the best player to play the game, and I think everyone was cheering him because he got to that final stage. Because everyone always said you can never get it done with Argentina.
Yeah.
He's won everything there is to win with
Mm.
Barcelona, and he couldn't get it done with Argentina. And he got to the final that 1 year against Germany, and they fell short and they lost. To me, like that was always like the rewrite I'd always get in sports. Like I've asked that, like I've had that question asked, and I've asked that question to my friends, like if there was anything you can go back in time and change in like sports history, like what would it be? A lot of people, like I've heard people say like not like for Derrick Rose not to get injured and things like
Mhm.
that. Mine was always Messi winning the World Cup, because that was so like sad for me. And I'm not a Barcelona fan,
Right.
but like I like Messi. I think he's an incredible player. And
Didn't you used to be a Barcelona fan?
maybe
I thought. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
when I
saw
first
you,
started, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing of how I switched.
Switching allegiances.
Just like jumped. Yeah, because I remember you guys
Fickle.
went to Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
I think someone in the family went to Barcelona. They
Yeah.
got me a soccer one. It's like, yeah, I'm a Madrid fan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because it was that summer where you switched over, and it was like
Yeah, that was like that was like when I was like figuring myself out, my identity.
yeah, that makes sense.
You're
Yeah.
young, you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like him going back to the final, there was like so much, writing into that, and him being able to lift the World Cup was, it's a sight that everyone was like, it's such like a great sight. Like I don't know, the power that had was, I mean, it's worldwide. And,
Yeah.
like you see these videos of people celebrating, people that don't even know the guy, don't even like are not even Argentinian, but it's like they feel that proud.
Mm-hmm.
And that always like takes me back. Like obviously my favorite sport is soccer, but just the power that sport has in general. I think how it unites people and gets everyone like together.
Also, it has the ability to make them devolve into animals.
Exactly. Some people just don't know how to control themselves. They have this like
We're looking at you,
primal
Philly
instinct.
fans.
Well, soccer's probably the oldest, or football is probably the oldest sport that I haven't experienced with, because growing up Colombian, you go to your first one pretty young, or at least I did. I know some families try to keep their kids away because there's always like a 50% chance of being trampled to death.
It's true.
In it. But I just remember running out of arenas like pretty young, and just kind of seeing that manifest itself in full force.
Yeah, I mean, and especially in those countries, like I think it's hard because like I grew up in the States,
Mm.
and what
He's just
eating
eating
lemon meringue
a
pie.
giant slice of lemon meringue pie.
You offered some yesterday, and I took a. It went like spitting all over. You offered some yesterday, so I'm like, oh, I'll get some today.
I wasn't aware there was a food themed episode, but okay, continue.
What was
There's
I
good
saying?
lemon meringue pie.
Oh, that's what it was. Like growing up in the States, like I didn't really like have that experience. Like soccer wasn't that big growing up. It was,
Mhm.
I mean, we were Colombian, so like it was big for us. But as far as like,
Around World Cup time, right?
Yeah.
Especially because you don't have access to all those other like things that like tournaments
Exactly.
and stuff that you have now.
Exactly. Like it wasn't like a big thing, especially like for kids to play. Like I mean, it was growing. It was
Mhm.
definitely growing, but it's not the same as like you going to Colombia or Brazil or Argentina. Like
Yeah.
how they're like, it's not like how here it's American football, here it's baseball and basketball and things like that. You know, you have a lot of opportunities for kids to play, and then now like it's crazy how much opportunity there is for children to play, and how much like kids love to play the game.
Yeah, and are obsessed with it. I have kids whose like identity is wrapped around like soccer, and like more power to them if that's the thing that they gravitate towards, and it kind of gives them you know, an ability to be grounded, you know, for a very difficult time in their life. But it's amazing just how like in tune with the global environment of football in a way that I don't think was a possibility when I was growing up.
No, of course. And even then, like you say, like a lot of like the kids, you know, base their identity on that. And even like going back to the point where like people kind of devolve into animals, there's a lot of grown adults that do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like just grown fans that really don't have any self-control when it comes to that. And it's kind of crazy. Like just that I don't know. I think of it as like a primal, not a feeling, but
on HBO Max Primal. Check it out.
What is
Jandy Tartovsky.
What's the word I'm looking for?
I think primeval.
Maybe
Primordial.
I think primal is good. Like I think it's primal. It's like innate.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Just like you want, like you're rooting for your team to win, and you sometimes you can like. Sport can bring out the best in people, but it can also bring out the worst.
Yeah, because it unites people, but it also divides them.
Yeah,
know,
like
and
someone on the
tribalism.
like other team, and like you see so many videos of like sports arenas, like opposing fans getting to fight and things like that, which is the ugly side, I think.
Yeah,
Of
and
it.
that's what it was. It was like security was at an all-time high because it was we don't have gangs. We have fans of different countries, countries they don't even belong to, like Argentina and Brazil. It doesn't matter where you're from. There was a whole slew of groups that were supporting them in the school and getting into knife fights. And no, that wasn't that part.
Knife fights.
Because we stopped it. That's why it didn't happen. Yeah.
And it's interesting to see like where those lines are drawn, or why those lines are drawn, like based on, because on a national level, like you were born in that country, you have family from that country,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. Or you can just support that country like that. I get that. But it's interesting once it, like, I mean, in soccer at least, there's more than just like, you know, World Cup or international games. It's like they have clubs, and these clubs are from different cities throughout the world. And it's like it's interesting to hear people's stories of how they gravitate towards a certain club, especially like being here in the United States.
Yeah.
Like
you're like divorced from it.
Yeah, exactly. From like US, like you have MLS teams, and like we have like Miami finally got. I remember I was an Orlando fan until Miami got a team, and so
forget you.
Friendship over.
But
you best friend.
But that wasn't like the biggest thing, because you know, like obviously the MLS is still growing. They're still a developing league, and they're not like up to the quality of like, you know, European football.
They're still playing catch up.
Yeah. But I mean, they're getting there. They're the players are really developing. But like European football,
and the money's being poured into it too.
Yeah, European football is the king. Like it's the best football in the world. But it's interesting to hear people's stories. Like, what is it about like this specific team that, you know, drew you to them, and things like that? And it's not even has to do with soccer. I think it's just like it goes for like baseball and basketball. Typically, like usually like cities that people are from.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is
if you hold that thought, because I've had this question like on the tip of my tongue from the very beginning. I think maybe now is a good time to address it.
Yeah.
That you mentioned the neutrals earlier, and you're talking a little bit about it now. What is your stance on that? Like, do you need bona fides? Do you need a street cred to support a team? Do you just pick whoever you like?
Pretty much it.
I mean, if you look at the World Cup, right? Like, if your team's not there, Colombia wasn't there. Who are we going to root for?
Do you have to root for anyone?
I mean, if you want to enjoy the World Cup, yeah, picking a team helps you enjoy it more. It also creates pain if your team's not doing well. So who was I supposed to root for? Well, I asked Gabriel. Gabriel, who am I rooting for? And who did you say?
I usually go for Spain.
There you go. We lost.
Do you keep jumping off at that point every round that your team's eliminated? Yeah. You just okay, now I'm with this.
Like guy. I was like I supported Spain, but it's like
it's kind of promiscuous.
I wanted Messi to win. Obviously, right. That's like one of the things I want. But the way that it was happening, I was like, they're gonna get there. They did somehow. But going back to like that neutrals, I'll refer to my story as like when I was a Barcelona fan. When I first like started like, I watched soccer a lot when I was a kid growing up. That's kind of what got me into it. but a lot of international soccer because
Mhm.
I watch Colombia and then I watch the World Cup and the Euros and things like that. But I think it wasn't until the 2008 Euros Spain won, and I was like, oh, this team is kind of nice. And then I kind of just dropped it. 2 years later, the World Cup happens, and Spain's the favorites. They lose the first game, and I watched that whole World Cup. I watched almost all the games. But
How many games is that on average?
4?
That's insane.
Something like that.
I don't think I love anything that much. Link would
64. Yeah.
The closest thing I can get to is like, obviously I'm a big fan of wrestling. I think everyone knows that. And
Yeah.
like we have the G1 Climax tournament in Japan.
Can't even watch it.
And I did it once. I can't even say I saw all of it. Maybe I saw most of it.
Mhm.
But after that first year, I was like, I can never do this ever
Yeah, it's
again.
too much.
Yeah, because it's just,
Mm.
it's also kind of too good. Because
Yeah.
the reality was I saw so much of it. And I was like, all of it was amazing. Like I'm overdosed. But that much respect to that.
Yeah, and I mean,
60 games.
not all of it was like live. Like the thing about I don't know.
Because you can't do it with
Yeah.
the schedule.
I don't know if like they have it, how it is now, but back then when it was on ESPN, you could go back and watch the replays of the games. You can watch
Yeah, I
the
think
matches.
you can.
I mean, there was a bit. I mean, maybe I shouldn't confess that, but the horn thing.
Oh yeah, no.
I would like. I remember
It was back when it was legal. It was
Yeah.
a different time.
when like that World Cup happened and Spain got to the final and I watched the final. That kind of just inspired me to like I always played soccer, but
Yeah.
I took it more seriously, and I also got serious in like to watching soccer.
Yeah.
So, most of that Spain team was Barcelona. It was like half of that team was Barcelona team
Mhm.
players, and then Messi was on the team too. So it was like Messi was always really like he was incredible to me. So like I just I liked the way that they played. I liked their style, and then I just started watching them. I started supporting them. And then I got into the whole, extreme rivalry between them and Real Madrid.
Right.
Mm.
And then there was a time when I started watching when it was like Barcelona was the best team. That team was probably the best team I've ever seen in my life. And they beat Madrid 5-0, and I was like, crap, I feel bad for them. And then there was like just multiple instances where they were just like, playing really well. And I remember this one game, it was the finals for the Spanish Cup final. They played each other. And, I went into that game, a Barcelona fan, and that game ended and I became a Madrid fan. Like, I couldn't, like, explain it. It just happened. Like,
It was a double turn.
I was naturally just rooting for Madrid. I don't know what it was. And ever since then, like, I've been a Madrid fan. And
So basically, you have no loyalty, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
pretty much, I mean,
Yeah.
since then I have. But that's the thing. I was figuring out.
Yeah,
Barcelona was the only thing I knew at the time. And yeah, like, that's the thing. It's like, you can pick a team, but you'll feel it.
Yeah.
You'll feel who you naturally support, and like that's how I base it. That's what I go off of.
How much of it has to do with who's good when you're growing up?
Really big. I think is if you don't have like an influence of like your dad or your mom or
Mhm.
some family member likes his team or supports his team.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I think it's hard because it's hard if like you don't have like prior knowledge because you're just brand new. So it's like if you go into it, you're brand new to the sport and you start watching it. I mean, it's always nice to see who's winning.
All right. You're
Yeah.
gonna
You
gravitate.
You follow the best
to
players.
the
Yeah.
leader,
Yeah.
to the rest of the team. Like that's just, I mean, that's how I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
And then other times, like you're just born in that city. Like we're Dolphins. Like I'm a Dolphins fan.
Right.
Mike is a Dolphins fan.
Yeah, that's the correct answer.
And
I had that duality. I was born in New York, so it was the Giants and the Knicks. But like I knew that deep in my heart, I liked the Bulls, and at that time, the Dallas Cowboys.
yeah,
But you support your home team. We had the Yankees. That was okay. You could just you can continue to
Anyone
support the
could
Yankees.
convert the hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That one's an easy one. Even though people throw garbage on the street at you when you wear a Yankees cap outside of New York. So.
no, yeah, and I think it just naturally comes. If you don't have like something that like you base it off of, I think it naturally like you feel it and then you pick, or it's just like certain instances where there's a player that plays for that team at that moment
Yeah.
that you just that you just really like,
Gravitate
that you
towards,
gravitate
yeah.
towards, and that's your team.
It's almost like falling in love. It sounds
Yeah,
like. You're
and the
just-
player,
right place, right time.
yeah, the player
And
might
you
leave.
just pick one.
Essentially, yeah.
That's basically what it is, because it's like this is in a way, like in a way, it's like a commitment. Like this is a part of this becomes kind of like a part of your life. Like you set out time to watch games and things like that.
You buy $100 jerseys.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember when Spain won that World Cup. I had no. I was what was it, like 13? I had like didn't have a job or anything. That shirt was like $110, and I remember I would sell things. I would find things to make money. Like I would do chores. Like help out my grandma with like helping with around the house. I saved up and I bought like my first, and I still have that jersey. Like that jersey, like whenever I get a house, I'm gonna put it like in my frame because that's the first one that I bought.
Whose jersey did you get?
It was a Spain. It was a red Spain jersey. David Villa.
It says Kanye on the back.
No.
It says "Make America."
It says MAGA Kanye.
MAGA Kanye. No, it's David Villa. He was a Spanish striker on the World Cup team, and then he also played for Barcelona.
I think he was the DJ at my wedding.
David Villa?
Yeah.
David Villa?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players.
I don't even know what that's a reference to. Well, that's one way. Or you could be a casual fan like me and Link, and you get your jersey in front of the Nevada supermarket from the guy who sells it on the street.
Yeah, that's what we were doing.
High five.
Yeah, that's what we were doing, yeah. It was like, I'm ready to get a Messi jersey. I'm going to go to the...
Yeah, he waited till he won to drive to the supermarket.
And then I got there, and like, how much are the fake jerseys? $60.
Now Messi won.
For those of you that can't see Link's face.
Messi won. That went from 15 to 60 because he won.
I swear, those jerseys were $20. I remember...
They were $20.
He had a sign that said $20. I'm like, all right, I'll get one. And then he
had a sign that had 20, but then it turns like into a 6. Like he puts his
there. Oh, yeah. Right. Because like I did that thing that Gabriel talks about. Like there's no one for me to follow. So the whole narrative was, all right, Messi is his last it's his last World Cup. The narrative is that he and Ronaldo are the GOAT. So let's see what happens in this World Cup. You get me? They had that Instagram post where they were both playing chess, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. Messi's one. I decided, you know what? I'm gonna just go for Messi. I like him better than Ronaldo. No reason why. I don't know why. So I'm following Argentina.
Because he was on the cover of FIFA more.
Probably. I don't know. So I'm following Argentina. They're winning. Semifinals. I'm like, I'm going to go freaking buy a jersey to support this guy. To show that I've always been there. I went to the Cuban guy that not only... It's like seasonal because before the World Cup, he was just selling Trump
yeah, flags. I was gonna say that's the MAGA guy.
He's the MAGA guy. He's just selling Trump flags, and out of nowhere, it just became a World Cup jersey.
Yeah, that's why he accidentally sold Gabe that bootleg. Like he had two things. The printer got it mixed up. The two orders got put together. So
10 years apart.
So when I went, it was $60, and I was like, bro, I'm not paying $60 for a fake jersey.
Yeah, no shot.
Yeah,
that's crazy. How much are the real jerseys up to now?
Like 100 and something, right?
Like that's the thing. They have replicas and they have authentic. Authentic is like 160.
160.
That's like what the players wear.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then like replicas are like basically like any jersey. Like they're jerseys, but they're not like like the material isn't what like the players wear, but they're jersey material.
They're not good enough to play in the World Cup with.
Yeah.
That's what kids need.
I think it's funny because my favorite sport is football and basketball.
American football.
Yes, God's football.
Okay.
So
make the NFL great again.
Let me know when they get hand of God.
Right? Like when I look at Gabriel, who his favorite team is it still Real Madrid?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Still.
I don't know.
Yeah. With this narrative.
You're fickle. You're back and forth.
Flip-flopping.
Right?
There was one decision 12 years ago.
And it marks you to this day.
So I didn't have that option of picking a team. I was just born into the Dolphins, right? And
I just pictured like a family of dolphins, or what do you call it?
A pod of dolphins.
A pod of dolphins.
Are they pods?
We're a pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like circling.
Are we a Dolphins?
Just circling baby Link.
Yeah, they're circling me like Elian Gonzalez, taking care of me.
By the way, I just want to point out that Benedict Arnold was also just one decision a long time ago. So.
Yeah, and everyone remembers him.
Exactly. Okay, go ahead, Link. You're telling.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Your Dolphin story.
So my team is the Dolphins, right? And it's not like I was looking for the best players. Like, no, I'm from Miami. Who am I going to root for, right? So I grew up a Dolphins fan because it's the city I'm from, and it's been
the city you're from now.
Now, yeah, it's a miserable experience.
You've lived in like
because you were in a worse one, weren't you?
Huh?
You've lived in several cities.
That's true. But it's a city I lived the longest. I grew up here, right?
Yeah.
And it's been a miserable experience. I didn't get to choose a good team. A bad team was just chosen for me. And like Gabriel said,
Many are called, few are chosen.
it's a commitment that I have to make every year. And that's why
That does sound like a marriage.
it is a marriage between me and them. And half the time I'm always angry at them. Say, oh my goodness, I'm going to divorce you.
Just disappointed.
Jeez.
I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to sign the papers and give them to you. But
That's one type of marriage, sure.
But they always bring me back somehow.
Oh.
But that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I bandwagon onto a good team at the time, and I've supported them, and I've been lucky that they're just the most successful team in the world.
But
Yeah.
you're following a league that's not like you're following another league like from far away.
Yeah,
Like, that's the best thing to do.
yeah. But I mean, it's interesting. Like when you liken it to football, like being it from the city that you're from, it's like, and you don't have a good team.
No, you're screwed, man.
Like, because for me, I was born in Miami. I was never really gonna pick like another football team. Like, it just never made sense to me. I can like when two teams go head to head, I can like have like, oh, I would like them to win. I'd like win a Super
For
Bowl.
the Super Bowls, yeah.
Super Bowl,
Yeah.
like that to win. But whenever you're playing the Dolphins, I'm always gonna root for the Dolphins. I'm not
yeah.
gonna like go for anybody else.
Because American football is so regional that it's so much more personal. Like
Yeah.
like Link said, like if you're doing Euro leagues, they're far away and you're not invested in any of them directly, so you get to choose. But like American football is like, I'm not gonna go across the country and choose some other state for the most part, you know.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because I mean, when you think about it, that's what's interesting about sport to me is that to us it's regional for American football. When you go to Spain or England, for that matter,
It's
like
regional for them.
football, it's regional for them.
Yeah,
That's
man.
what they live off of. That's
Mhm.
their that's everything for them.
Right.
And it's like the way that people get about football here, the way people get about baseball here. That's how they're even more. I mean, I've seen like games like that. I've seen fans like that. They're insane.
Yeah.
Like the amount of like energy that they bring, and things like that. They're crazy over there, and it's a beautiful thing, but it's also scary.
Are they like Buffalo Bills crazy, where they get power bombed on a table?
Is that something that happened at a
Yeah,
Bills
that's what-
game?
no, they do that all the
Like
time.
in the
They do it
Yeah.
all the
In
time.
tailgates, they get power bombed
No.
through a table.
Yeah, they like I've just seen like
Bro.
They do that for fun.
I've
Oh,
seen that.
Bills are my kind of people.
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
read
they are
that.
from New York, I guess.
Yeah, and they go to like pubs afterwards or like the bars and like celebrate out there, which I think is an interesting like tailgating.
Yeah.
Is an American, tailgating's an American
That
like
sounds like fun. I've never done it.
tailgating.
Yeah.
Tailgating's fun.
Sounds like it's too hot.
Except when your
Yeah,
car
my-
blows up randomly.
Hey,
Did you ever hear about that?
No.
At a Dolphins game,
They
someone
haven't
left
either. Sure.
at a Dolphins game, somebody left like a grill on or like a
Yeah.
portable
Oh,
grill
no.
on,
and it exploded.
and it exploded, and then like 3 cars next to it just blew up.
No. That's
Yeah.
horrific.
Yeah.
But back to that, like in Europe, like it's a regional thing.
I
and
thought it was a personal story coming, by the way. I
Oh,
thought
no.
your car
Yeah.
exploded.
No, not mine.
That's
My
why
car
you've been
is
driving
just
your mom's
damaged.
car.
But it's interesting, like when your team is not good.
Oh.
But when your team actually succeeds and
Oh my
makes
goodness.
it, that makes all like
That's
the
it.
sacrifice
That's
like
it.
worth
One
it in
day.
a sense. That one day, the one time that you actually get a win, it's like, oh my God, we're going to the Super Bowl. You're finished like 4 and what is it? What is the record? What is the games at now? The amount of games?
There's 17 games.
Yeah, something.
That's too much math for me to do right now. Whatever, you have a negative record.
A bad record.
Okay.
But it's like you had that win, it's like, man. Or it's like if it's against a rival and you win, like beating
Yes.
the Patriots.
Which we do often.
Yeah.
Well, now it's easier.
Well, no, I mean, I feel like for a long time, it was always like they would have like
It was
an
like one
almost
game this
perfect season, and then they would come and lose here to us. I never really understood. Like, do they not try when they come?
I remember a
They
few
feel pity?
a few years ago, I was in California. I think it was 2018, 2019. They had
Mhm.
the Miami Miracle, where the Dolphins were
Oh,
already
my
eliminated
goodness.
from the playoffs. They weren't going to do anything, right? And they were against the Patriots, who were going to go to the playoffs. And the Patriots were fighting for like a better division.
Seedage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the division, right? And Miami won that game. Like the last minute, last play, Hail Mary. Tannehill passes it to Kenny Stills. He laterals it back to Parker. Parker laterals it to Drake, and he just runs all the way to the touchdown, and everyone goes crazy. And I remember we had a losing record, but I got so much pride, and I was just walking around like I was Conor McGregor. You get me? Throughout throughout the house, and I was just like, I felt like I won the Super Bowl.
Because
that was my
Yeah,
Super
that was
Bowl
the last.
that year.
That was, yeah, that
The
was
last game of the
minute.
year, we beat the Patriots, a team that I hate. We beat Tom Brady, and because we beat them, they got a lower seed, and as a result, they didn't get to make it to the play. Like they didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
That's hilarious. That was your sacrifice play. Like,
Yeah.
you give up your life, but then the antagonist falls apart. Conor McGregor, you mentioned, he totally stole that walk from Vince McMahon, right?
He has to.
Yeah, that's what happened there. 80 for Brady. Excited about that?
No.
We're gonna sneak you into like.
No, can't happen. I don't do that thing you guys do where you watch bad movies.
No, I don't do that anymore. I'm following your lead in 2023. There will be no Morbius 2 review.
Can't believe that happened. Thought that was a prank.
There's an art form underneath sport. We usually talk about art here. We talk about storytelling, but sports tell stories in their own way. In what ways is sport? Sport is sport, but sport is also art. How?
I think you said it like you're telling a story, right? The story of this past World Cup was Messi's and Ronaldo's last World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
They're both fighting for the GOAT position. Who's gonna win, right? That's a story in itself, right? Everyone was just all these teams made it, and people were happy rooting for them.
Yeah.
But majority of the people were watching Portugal and Argentina to see how far they got, because you have these two players who are the GOAT, considered to be the GOATs. The only thing that they're missing is a World Cup title, right? Trophy to put in their pantheons of of medals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was just, I think that story right there, that's what drove the World Cup.
Yeah.
Where do these stories come from? Are they manufactured? Are they innate in the sequence of events?
I think some are. Yeah. I mean, obviously that it goes into like, these production companies doing their thing, and they're making these clips. But I think more so, is the fans of, particularly if we're talking about this story, is like the Ronaldo fans versus the Messi fans. That's been a hotly contested debate over the years.
Mm-hmm.
What are some modern stories, like some stories in modern sports history? My knowledge goes back to around the 90s and, those great conflicts, which actually are now being retold through media, television series, like that show that from the 70s and 80s.
Showtime?
Yeah, Showtime, right? And other stories like that, the documentary Last Dance, right, with Jordan and the Bulls in the 90s. So those historical stories are kind of being retold now. That's what I'm more familiar with. What are some stories of today? We talked a lot about football, soccer. What are some other stories?
Trying to think. I think it all depends on.
For you personally, maybe what?
I'm trying to think. Right.
What can you think of?
You
put you on the spot.
Yeah. On the spot. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we ask the questions ahead.
What do you think about for basketball?
I'm thinking of basketball. Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm thinking.
That'd be like, at this point in time, it's LeBron.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. LeBron's legacy right now. He's with one of the greatest teams of all time. A team that has one of the most greatest histories in basketball, and with the Celtics, right? But he's not doing well. So that's a story in itself. And if they start winning, then you're telling a redeeming story there. And it's just the media drives that part.
Yeah, you got the hero's journey, right? Yeah. And it's interesting what you said. The media drives it because we construct these stories.
The media constructs it, yeah.
They have to fit into the formula,
yeah.
But also the formula's there because we tell our own stories in that same structure.
Yeah.
Like we face conflict, we have a downfall, we overcome, and ultimately we achieve, that boon, that reward at the end. And and if we don't, then the story's not worth telling, right?
Well, here's a story that dominated this past season, right? Tom Brady won the Super Bowl a few years back, right? He got his 7th Super Bowl, unfortunately. and he was ready to retire, right? Like that's what you do.
Yeah, spend some time with your family.
Spends time with your family, right? He ends up coming back after a month, and he's back, right? And the narrative is like, oh, we have the greatest of all time coming to win another championship. That's what the media wanted. That's what they would have gone with if that ended up happening. But what ended up happening instead was he didn't have a good season. Like he had a bad season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's where the negative part of the media's narrative comes in, where they start saying, oh, he's getting divorced. That's what affected his playing time, his ability to play well, distractions, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's a story that was told this past year.
Yeah, I heard it over and over. I had it in the very little feeds that I have constantly coming up, and I don't even follow sports stuff.
Yeah. I think another one going back to basketball is, when the big three came to
Yes,
Miami.
that was huge for us.
And even not even that, even for the sport, I think it's like then they started building these super teams. Then you had the Warriors.
It became an arms race.
Yeah. Basically. And I mean, now it's like you have one of the greatest, if not the greatest shooter of all time Steph Curry. And like him coming back, like what I think one of their stories was that, they had this dynasty. They won.
Oh yeah.
Was it 3 years in a row?
They won it
was like it was a couple of years in a row, and then they got beat by Kawhi, the Raptors.
No, the team got injured.
Yeah, the team got injured. There was a lot of injuries, and then they lost in the finals one year. And that team had an all-star 5. Like no one's gonna beat them.
Yeah.
But then they got injured, and then they ended up losing. And that story was like there was a player on that team called Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard played for the I was gonna say Suns, not the Suns. The Spurs. And he's the one that
Antonio.
And he's the San Antonio Spurs, and he's kind of the one that ended, Miami's championship run, winning.
Yeah, that's true.
And so like the story there was that he's the legacy killer.
Mm-hmm.
And then other stories like what's it called? So the Warriors actually, coming back.
Yeah.
Because they're the champions now. They won this past championship against the Celtics, which I do not like the Celtics. I'm sorry if we have any listeners that do. I do not like.
To quote Adrian Brody as Pat Riley.
No, yeah, I don't think you can do that on this show.
Beat Boston.
Okay, that'll do, pig.
But yeah, there's always storylines. There's always things that they're trying to generate.
I think one of the biggest ones was when LeBron left back to Cleveland, right? Trying to win a championship for his hometown, right? He left because he wasn't going to do anything. He wasn't winning there. He wanted one. He came to Miami. He won a couple here, right? Went back to actually win it. And that season where he does win it, like, that's one of the greatest stories ever told.
Yeah.
That is, there. Yeah, like a championship
a boy from Akron, Ohio, his hometown, joins his team and wins the championship for his city.
With not a great team.
He had
like one other person?
He only had Kyrie.
Yeah, but he promised me 5 rings.
He did promise me 5.
So,
but maybe he was just promising himself.
But even that, like,
maybe he shouldn't promise himself things out loud.
Just like
I'm over it.
Them winning against such a good team.
Yeah, it was LeBron winning against the Warriors.
That was crazy. That was insane.
Yeah, and then there's some stories that just transcend sports team. I don't know how to explain it, but
they're larger than life.
They're larger than life, right?
Yeah.
So I remember it was Kobe's last game, right?
Yeah.
It was his last game. The team wasn't doing well. They weren't going to make it to the playoffs, right? It was literally just his last game.
Mm-hmm.
And that same day, at that same time, the Warriors were playing another team. I don't remember who, but if they won, they would have broken the record for most wins in a season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a monumental achievement. If you look at what was at stake, the more important game was the Warriors game, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that everyone. That's the one that the
on paper should be watching.
You should be watching, right? That's the one that has the most weight. But that day, every I'm not gonna say every, but a lot of celebrities ended up going to the Lakers game. to watch Kobe Bryant.
There weren't any regular people
play
there, just celebrities.
Play his last game, right? And I remember I was in college watching it in the dorm.
Yeah, we were in the dorm.
We were in the dorm, and in the guys' dorm, and we just, instead of wanting to watch the Warriors, we just wanted to watch Kobe's last game.
We put it up because they have like a theater there, so we put it up on the.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So all the guys were just no one wanted to watch the Warriors game. Yeah. They just wanted to watch Kobe's last game.
Nice.
And it was beautiful because Kobe dropped like 60 points.
Kobe dropped 60 points in his final game.
Right? And like I said, it's because of his legacy as Kobe Bryant, right? His legacy that day for some reason surpassed the legacy that the Warriors were creating. And to me, that was just like, man, that's just crazy. Like, this story right here for this day was more important than a record-breaking story. Because Kobe didn't, like, the Lakers weren't gonna. They had a losing record. They weren't gonna go anywhere. Mm-hmm. Why would we watch that game other than it's Kobe Bryant's last game?
Yeah, and I think there's just certain, like in sport, there are certain athletes, there are certain players
that transcended,
that just are just bigger. They're larger than life characters. Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, Messi, Ronaldo, like
Curry,
Brady, even.
For me, it was Jordan growing up, but Kobe very early on. Actually, it's funny you mentioned the Golden State Warriors. You mentioned the Spurs, and I said San Antonio right away. I know where every team is from, even though I'm not a huge basketball fan, because I had NBA courtside for Nintendo 64, Kobe Bryant's NBA courtside, and the Golden State Warriors weren't really like a big team. I don't know if I shared the story on the show before, but basically I like undrafted everybody from Golden State, and then I created, because my alma mater's mascot is the Warriors.
Oh yeah.
So I just created custom basketball players for like all of my friends, and it was like create a team, us against the world, every city. That's going on tour.
Yeah, I would do that in FIFA. Like I would do it like the people that I played soccer with. I would just like eliminate every like actual players and just make them my friends, and and just like pad their stats.
Yep.
But actually, really quickly going back to the art form, aside from like the narratives that were being drawn, I think when we wrote that down, what I was thinking was the actual
well, don't reveal that we planned these things.
Beauty of sport. I mean, they have me week to week just telling Danny, come on, start the timer.
Yeah.
I think just like the beauty of like like when you like really love a sport and you can tell like sometimes like when it could be a team you don't like, it could be the opposite team, but you can tell when it's a beautiful play. You can tell when like something incredible has just happened.
It transcends like
This last World Cup game, that's what it was.
Like that World Cup final, the first half an hour Argentina was playing France, I think is the best like football I've seen played like in that high level, like in that type of a match. Like it was electric. It was incredible.
Woogie.
And so it's like for me it might be soccer. It's like when you like, that's why I was really attracted to Barcelona at the beginning, because the way that they played was they passed the ball.
Yeah.
The ball was always moving, passing until they made their way to the goal.
And they're hot.
You couldn't play. You couldn't play against that.
Mm-hmm.
You really couldn't. That's why I really love Spain. It's like there's certain plays, there's certain things that happen, like just the way that tactics are drawn up, or just the way that these professionals are at the highest level playing this, that it's just beautiful. For football, it might be how certain plays are drawn, a beautiful throw, a beautiful catch.
That beautiful football that Pele would talk about.
And
let's ignore the towels coming from off the wall.
The world's falling. The sky's falling.
Things fall apart.
But yeah, there's like especially like when you really are a fan, even when you're not a fan, like you can really appreciate when something is like that's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing more to it. It's just beautiful, and it's like that's what I think. When you attribute that to a player like Messi or Ronaldo, when you like look up Messi highlights on YouTube, you just kind of get like you're beside yourself on how that guy does what he does. When Michael Jordan, like when the heat is turned up, like he showed up. And there's
not our heat, like
no,
yeah. And that's amazing too. What's a great achievement, like in one generation, how we surpass it in the next generation. We think there's never gonna be a player as good as this, and we just keep racking up the score and moving faster and playing more games and excelling more often than ever.
It's constantly evolving in every sport, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to, you know, gain an advantage, get the edge. And it's entertaining, but at the same time I think about it, it's like, man, these players, like, obviously they have to be extremely, you know, resilient, like the mental toughness they need to have obviously to get to that level, but to deal with like the outside pressures of being off the pitch, off the court, off the field, like it's insane to think about because I mean, we have, you know, our jobs, we live our lives. We're not professional athletes.
Right.
Like their life is eating like correctly, going to the gym, practicing, and then like studying basically what like their craft and, you know, perfecting it. But it's like they have to deal with like living in a social media age.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds nice, and you know, it'd be nice if all you had to worry about was being in shape and being better at the thing you love and whatever. But you know, you become a slave to anything.
No.
You know.
And the thing that you love to do, like, I mean, from what I've seen from like a lot of previous athletes, it's like it just becomes work. It's not something that they love anymore. It's not fun.
You lose that passion.
And
you got to find that passion, and you got to refine that passion. You got to keep falling in love with the one you made a commitment with.
And I mean, that's what drives people. That's what drives, you know, that instinct. Obviously, you want to win, but I mean, and I'm not a professional athlete, but like I would assume in professional athletes, like you always want to be better than you were before, try better, like to do better. And I think, personally speaking, I've gotten that from a lot of athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think one of the biggest ones was like when I really respect Cristiano Ronaldo's work ethic and how hard he, you know, he demands from himself. And obviously it comes off as like, you know, he's a brat, he's selfish, he's cocky.
Yeah.
But what I've realized over time is like when you're going against a player like Messi, who is like, he's obviously worked his butt off, but that's God-given like talent. Like he's just naturally gifted.
Yeah.
When you're going against something like that, like you kind of have to hype yourself up. You kind of have to be in your head and you have to believe in yourself that much.
Confidence has to be through the roof.
Exactly. Like you have to believe that like when everyone's saying that this guy's better than you, in your own head, for you to actually believe that you're better than him and you're the best in the world, that's obviously going to show out. But the guy did it.
Yeah.
The guy was the best in the world for a couple of, like it was always back and forth between them.
You know, you got to be your own best spokesman too, because at the end of the day, no one's gonna back you up.
I mean,
back up yourself.
It's like Jordan, like
that
you know,
Mamba mentality,
and the Kobe too. It's like they come off as like, can I say a-holes?
They do come off
jerks.
They come off as jerks.
J-holes.
And but I mean that was their decision, and that's how they got to where they were.
Yeah.
Like they weren't just to get to where they were. They weren't gonna be nice guys. That's how they couldn't for themselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have Jordan and Kobe. Like Kobe's like one of those. Kobe and Jordan are those players that's like, they're like the top for me of like mentality, of like not letting things break you and like, you know, pushing yourself to win. Like whatever it takes, you got to do to win. And I think that's one of the main things that a lot of people, you know, knock LeBron for.
Yeah.
Like the guy at the end, like taking that final shot, like Kobe and Jordan were known for. But it's like even that, like that's pretty unfair because with Jordan, with Kobe, it's like they missed that shot. It's like everyone's gonna be doing the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah. You mentioned like Jordan being abrasive, and obviously I was a lot younger at the time, but I just remember looking up to him kind of like he was like Hulk Hogan. Like he was to me the epitome of like what the righteous knight, what the hero was. And I don't know if that was because he was marketed a different way
to the media. That's
the younger audience. Yeah. And it was like when he would take that final shot and miss, at least me growing up was like anyone else would have missed it. If Jordan missed it, anyone else would have missed it.
Yeah, no, I mean there's even that quote that he says like I've missed 1,000 shots in my life, like game-winning shots in my lifetime, like, but it doesn't stop him from making from you know trying the next time and shooting. And I think like those types of things, like especially like with Kobe, it's just like he had such a like the Mamba mentality, like Link said, is like he had such a mentality of like not letting things break you or discourage you. Like you keep working, you keep like falling in love with the process, and like once you get to that end point, like great, but the important part was like the journey you got, you know, falling in love with that process and like, you know, keep pushing yourself and keep trying to get better at whatever it is that you do. And I remember like with Kobe, like he made he won an Oscar
for that movie,
for that film that he made,
short film.
Dear Basketball,
and
I've shown that in class.
Really?
Like I get 8th graders who have never read a poem ever finally pay attention to one.
Yeah,
because Kobe's the one reading it.
Yeah.
And then and then after his tragic passing, it was even more. So like, it was a sob fest, when we got to that part.
And that just goes to show like how sometimes like sports really just transcend like just life in itself.
Yeah.
And there are either instances, plays, games, players that really just have an impact on us, watching through a TV, watching live, if we're lucky to be there for that.
Going back to what you said about being your biggest spokesperson, betting on yourself, and that Jordan, that superhero figure that he was. I remember going back to the games, he wasn't in them. He was just 23. You had to license him specifically, and he had to be front and center. And it was like always special if Jordan was in a game. And if he wasn't, it was like, Jordan's so special, he can't even be here.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to, like you said, transcend that, to be so outside, above, like front and center of a sport, just an individual figure.
Yeah, I mean, you have those. And I mean, you see that in The Last Dance, I think. The Last Dance, because I was born in like the later 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like during that time is kind of like, when was the last time they won a championship? 97?
Yeah, around that.
Yeah, I was born in 96. So it's like, it's tough. Like, I wasn't alive during that time, but it's like you have YouTube, and like it's a really cool way to like go back and see the past for things that you might have missed, or and obviously it's different because like,
dude, we used to buy DVDs just of Jordan highlights.
Yeah, living that time, like, and now it's like you just Google it and like search it up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I think that's why I think like documentaries like The Last Dance are so cool. It's like
they're time capsules.
It really just transports you back, and like the footage that they have of all that stuff, but also like the interviews of these players that they have at that time and what their thoughts were. I think is super interesting. I think it's really cool.
You mentioned not being a pro player yourself, but eventually if you get involved in this fandom, it kind of bleeds into your real life and you end up participating. What are some of those experiences playing and participating in sports firsthand?
Oh man, sports has taught me so much, like not even just watching, but playing and being part of a team.
Yeah.
I remember when my dad was a big soccer fan, and he would always take me to the park to go play with his adult friends, and I was always scared. I was scared of the ball when I was a kid. Like we'd go to the park and he'd kick the ball up and I just run away. He would just try to get me to play with him, and I just wouldn't. To the point where I think he was like, all right, I'll stop, trying to push him.
My dad would do that, but he would throw the ball at me.
Yeah. And then at some point he was watching, he asked me, because Colombia was playing the Copa America final in 2001. And he asked me, like, do you want to watch the game? And I'm like, nah, I think I'm going to go play with my trains.
Oh.
And then my train set. My train set in my room.
Are you Sheldon? Are you Sheldon Cooper?
Yeah, I built trains. I had a huge train set when I was a kid.
You were young Sheldon.
And I remember, like, I was just playing with my train set, and then I just hear my dad, like, frantically yelling. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, what happened? What happened? I thought something, like, terrible would happen. I see it on the TV, and the guy's yelling, goal! And I'm just
Which you hate, right? You hate when they yell goal?
No.
Oh, the other day we were watching it in English. You're like, it's better in English.
Yeah, you said that. I got offended by that.
And they made a goal.
No, I stand by that.
And they were like, goal. They
scored. How's that fun?
Because how many times do they score a goal? How many times do they score a goal? Why do you hate soccer? Because no one scores, right?
Every time I watch
so
soccer,
you're gonna tell me
no.
So you're gonna tell me.
So that's why I like to hear that goal.
Okay, what if it never happens? Because what if it never happens and you watch the game for nothing, right?
And that's why if you every time I watch soccer,
with the English announcements, I get statistics. I get actual
they're analyzing the game.
Yeah, but I don't get emotion.
Spanish announcers just
are emotional.
They're just like, they're emotional, but what the hell are they saying? Nothing.
They're the WWE announcers of professional football.
It's emotion. It's passion.
What a maneuver! That's basically.
Oh, maybe for soccer it's because you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Because
he's not. You just love people yelling. For me, it's to get actual.
And because you're just talking during the whole game, you don't care what they're saying until the goal. As a casual fan.
Exactly. For me, it's because that's entertaining. For me, it's I actually learn more. I actually learn about stats because they're informing me about where this player came from, what they're doing.
But then you have to pay attention to the game.
Nah, but that's another thing though. Is there's a commentator called Peter Drury.
Yes.
And he is a poet. he is a poet in commentating. And
Like
I'm
he
sure,
rhymes?
like everything,
Okay.
like it's just I'll show you a few clips, but
Okay. Right now or later?
later.
Okay.
Going back to that moment is like that moment like was stuck with me in my life because like
Goal.
Colombia ended up winning, and
Colombia is the champion.
yeah,
Congrats. To
Colombia ended up winning,
To the
and we go
congrats
back.
to the Colombians.
We ended up going
I
back
think it's
to
a British
all
accent.
right,
They're always British for some reason.
We go back to.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
No.
The people
No,
won't hear this.
don't
Story.
get upset.
Get off me.
You go back.
Stop acting like a Spanish commentator.
Get off me.
Give me those statistics.
Yeah, go give it to me.
Nah, the story like Colombia ended up winning. I ended up getting dropped off at home, and just Miami went crazy. Miami was insane.
Oh yeah, the like I was gonna say riots, but that's not the right word. The just like parades isn't even. It's somewhere in between riots and parades.
Yeah, parades was more like the Heat stuff.
Yeah,
like when the Heat
this
won.
is like pots and pans and just yelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ever since then, like that really like that inspired me. Like that's what made me like fall in love with soccer, and then I started or football, and then I started just that became a part of my life.
What inspired you? Just the guttural reaction, the emotional.
Just like because I hadn't experienced the World Cup at the
Wasn't
time
the
yet.
statistics?
No, because it was in Spanish.
Yeah. See, so why don't you go?
There
I'm
you
just
go.
kidding. Lay off the announcer thing. Just let
No,
it
it's okay. Link doesn't know what he's talking about.
Okay.
And it's
Well, we know-
soccer. I don't know.
Yeah, and then I started playing it for the rest of my life, and I'm here now, and I think it taught me a lot, like being teammates and like knowing what it is to like trust other people
Yeah.
in that sense, and because like I've been on teams where it's like, other players might not be at your level, and it can be kind of frustrating, but it's like you still like you remind yourself why you're there. Obviously, you want to win, but
Yeah.
like, a part of it is also like enjoying the game, and then there's sometimes where you just gotta do it yourself.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like I've been, blessed with people. Like one of my best friends is a fantastic soccer player. And he's really good.
Oh, he's good in Spanish.
And
He's better in Spanish. Yeah.
he barely speaks Spanish.
No, when they speak about him in Spanish.
Nah, maybe he played him. He played against Real Madrid.
Really?
Yeah, and he beat them.
He single-handedly.
Yeah, he's the one that scored.
Oh, okay.
In FIFA.
No, in real life,
Oh,
in
okay.
Spain. But like
Wait,
I've been.
Does in Spain make it more real life than
I
if
don't
it was
even-
somewhere else? In
I
the
He
don't
world?
just said in FIFA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the real life was enough. Like then you specified in Spain, it was like, would it have been less real life, like here in the States?
Oh
or-
yeah, it's different because even then, like you have home and away.
True. That is true.
It's like if you're beating one of the best teams, like the youth academy of one of the best teams in the world,
Oh, okay.
in
You
their
said
own
that.
country.
I'm like, man, they beat Messi. I can see why you switched the Real Madrid. Like your best friend's beating Messi and
He's
Ronaldinho.
a 15-year-old kid just beat the best friend in the world.
I feel like that was implied heavily, but
No, it's okay. It's because he's listening in Spanish.
Yeah.
that's right. He doesn't know what's going on.
But yeah, do you guys have any? I remember playing soccer like at Link's house against him.
That's when I would beat him.
Yeah, he would. And then it's just like it taught me.
Because he was older, bigger.
Yeah.
That's because I was older.
It just taught me like losing, and then I just never liked to lose. And then we started playing like that football game where we just throw it over each other's heads.
Yeah,
and
we
run
play football. It's a one-on-one football, and we would just tackle each other
for hours. Like this was like
in front of
school, and then we would like
You would hike it to you would, like hike it and then
like decide which side we were gonna run past you and
Throw it,
lob it
yeah.
over and then catch
Yeah.
it. And then this is the things, the games that you make up with your friends or even like by yourself when you're like when you have a ball or whatever it is.
I've learned that if you give a group of guys a ball, they're gonna turn that.
They'll figure it out.
Man,
Sometimes it doesn't even have to be a ball.
it doesn't have to be a ball.
They'll
It could be a
turn it
bottle.
into-
It'll be a bottle cap.
Yeah.
They'll turn that into a game.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, we could solve with that type of ingenuity. We could solve world hunger.
If
We
only
could
they
solve
cared enough
peace,
about world
but
hunger.
they don't care about that. But you give students a ball, boys a ball, anything, they'll turn it into a stupid game.
You know what? Maybe you just need to find the right motivation. Maybe if you yell at them in Spanish, maybe they'll finally apply that.
Maybe
They won't know anything.
they won't know.
but they'll feel really passionate about it. It's funny you alluded to teamwork. What is it? Competition. I don't have the same background. I never competed in any sports, so I feel like I lack these things in my life. Like I was too busy.
Hey,
Yeah.
you're in the team right now.
I mean,
You're in the searching for McGuffin team.
well, this itself has been an experience because, for example, in my career, in school, I was always like single-minded, and like you always have like a buddy or two or a partner, my wife, but I've never really worked on it. I'm one of those students where like you try to engage with the group in the group projects as little as possible. So I don't have that kind of practice. Yes, the set is falling apart behind us. Thank you. You don't have that kind of practice with depending on other people and putting your trust in them. And I think I'm missing that aspect. It's something that I have to work on, and it's something I have to be intentional with because it doesn't come second nature. Because those are like soft skills that are inherent in an environment like that it's very difficult to kind of replicate outside of that environment.
Yeah.
True, man.
It's actually interesting.
You say actually?
What?
Oh, I think said never mind.
Like love actually?
Yeah.
No, it's interesting when like thinking about it and how, kind of innate it is in certain instances because I guess for the most part, I mean, I don't know if for like to most people, like you guys are my family, but to most people, like I'm kind of like, soft spoken. Like I'll talk when I need to,
right?
But it's like otherwise I'm just pretty chill.
You host a weekly talk show, but yes,
yeah. But even then, like my tone, like my tonality and everything like that is like just kind of mellow for the most part.
And I think most people would be surprised if they knew you and then they find that out.
Yeah, and then. But it's like when I'm on the field, I turn into a different person. It's just like I'm like yelling, like I'm calling out people. I'm like feeding instructions to people. I'm just very vocal and I'm like louder.
He's a captain.
And it's interesting, like just the difference of like personalities and who I am.
I'm like that backstage, like in theater. I'm like that. I turn up like, and even then I have to rein it in. Now I'm just like, yo, dude, chill. Like, but yes, that.
Yeah, because it's that's an interesting point. Like thinking about it, because when I need, like, only like really when I'm need to, like, I don't think I would have been like that if I didn't have sports. Like if I'm in a group and we got to do something, we got to get things done. If no one like steps up, then it kicks in for me. Because other times, like I'll just let someone else take lead.
Yeah.
But if we got to get things done, and like that kind of like nature in me, like that sporting nature kind of kicks in, and it's like then I'll like take charge. But I'm not like the most assertive person when it comes to like most things. But in certain instances, then like I really will like just take over and do what has to be done in that sense. It's just like the duality of like what sport brings out versus who you are like in your daily life is kind of an interesting dynamic to think about.
I have a question for you guys. Talking about sports. Who is your favorite athlete of all time?
Oh man, I didn't see that in the notes.
Right.
Oh wow.
I pulled a George.
A reverse card. Favorite. I think you asked this during planning actually, and I was like, I couldn't come up with it, so we didn't write it down. Put us on the spot.
I'll go.
All right, go ahead.
I'll go. Yeah. For me, my favorite athlete of all time is Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Like to me, he represents Miami. He is Wade. Miami-Dade is Wade County. He was our champion. He gave us 3 championships.
Yeah.
He was our leader. You get me? Everywhere I go, I'll talk praises about Dwayne Wade. Like the guy could do no wrong in my eyes, except for when he left us for 2 years.
Oh.
But even then, like he cheated on his wife, had a baby with another woman. I looked the other way because that's my boy Dwayne Wade.
That's going a little far, I think.
I looked the other way. The man has no son or daughter. I don't know.
That's how I felt about. Okay, that's how I felt about Michael Jordan when it was like, oh yeah, he used to cheat on his wife. I was like, no, he was perfect.
He is perfect.
Yeah.
They were on a break.
I haven't actually seen The Last Dance, so I don't know.
No, I'm talking about Wade.
You haven't seen it?
Wade and Gabrielle Union.
It's good.
Oh, are they were? Is that fair? Is that real or?
Yeah, they were like on a break.
Okay. Well, so he's the Ross Geller.
He's a Ross Geller.
The Miami Heat. Man, I just want to gravitate and just say Michael Jordan. Obviously, I have a litany of like professional wrestlers, but they're more performers than they are actual. I mean, they're athletes for sure, but it's different. They're like, I wouldn't pick a figure skater. I wouldn't pick a gymnast, even though they're athletes, right? That's a performance art.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Simone Biles is one of the greatest athletes of all time.
I guess they have a competition with scores and so judges. I guess it's fabricated. in our industry.
Yeah.
I'm not part of it. But I guess I would have to just default to
Jordan.
Michael Jordan. I don't know if that's like a lame
Nah,
answer.
I mean, he's there for a reason. He is who he is.
He defined sports for me growing
He's him.
up.
He is him.
Okay, that new thing that.
He defined sports for you.
Yeah, he did.
He
It
is
was
him.
it's what sports was to me. Like I don't even think at the time there was a football figure. There wasn't a, even a soccer figure. No, I think if I had to think about sports and what, it's the first one that comes to mind.
Jordan's the '90s. Like,
Yeah.
That one's kind of hard for me because it's like I have my favorite soccer player, Zinedine Zidane. Just the way that he played, like his style of play, is just for me was beautiful.
Gesundheit. Are you just taking off your
Are
clothes?
you showing us your nipples?
No, that's not. What?
It's the jersey that he headbutted that dude in.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, for those that are.
Yeah, for those of you that are listening on the radio.
Gabriel is flashing us.
For those of you listening on the radio, let us know how you're listening to this on the radio because we're not on terrestrial radio. But for those of you listening through the audio podcast,
radio.
Yeah.
Like that was another rewrite I would have done because
the
they would have
headbutt?
won. If they didn't headbutt,
Ugh.
I'm pretty sure they would have won.
Why did he headbutt him?
He said something about his
Sister. That's what I heard.
Yeah, he said something about he said something really bad about his sister.
Yeah.
And that was like
She supports Kanye.
That was the interesting part about him was that
She loves.
No, we're not doing that.
he was known for
hothead.
no, he was known for like for the most part he was known for being like cool, calm, and collected. Like he was just that guy. And then he had that outburst. Like he had something like that before when he was younger.
Yeah.
But this was like his last tournament.
Last
Like,
game, right?
It was his last. It was his last. Yeah, it was his last game, and France was one of the favorites, and he gets to the final. He scores a ridiculous. He's just like the guy that like he did a penalty in the final against one of the best goalies in the world, and just like chips it, and it hits the post, and it goes in, and it's just like you don't do that unless like you have nerves of steel and like you have like the confidence like of a god. But like he like just lost
Super
it.
Saiyan.
He just lost it. Like he literally lost his head and.
He literally lost his head.
His
head just rolled off of his shoulders.
Yeah,
and
fell
couldn't
off.
find
That's
it.
yeah.
It fell off.
Okay.
And
Literally.
and he they lost, unfortunately. But he's like my favorite soccer player, but I think athlete, I think it's Kobe. Like just his mentality and his drive and who he was as a player, I think is like, and I mean later on in his life, obviously like him off the court, like him, like all the I've seen a lot of interviews of him, and him speaking, and I think he was just a really great guy on and off. Like obviously everyone makes their mistakes, but for the most part, like I really respected Kobe.
I wonder if you could bring anyone up and not modify it with everybody makes their mistakes. Like I think we eulogized someone last week's episode, and even then we had like, there's controversy in the back. I feel like anyone's life under a magnifying glass eventually comes with pitfalls and blunders and controversy.
There's like athletes at that, like they have everything, and I guess especially when they're younger, it's kind of hard to to navigate that.
Yeah.
Like, you give
yes,
so much
and that's the
power
thing. So much money, so much power, so much fame at such a young age, and for some of them, not a ton of education.
Yeah.
Either whether it's coming right from high school or coming from an undereducated region or just kind of just making it so that you can play the sport.
Yeah.
It's quite a resposibility.
Yeah.
Blink, you got an exercise?
Yes, guys. Hello.
You've been on the episode for over an hour. They know you're
just
here.
Making sure that you guys didn't forget about me. All right, guys.
You ate a ginormous piece of lemon meringue pie
meringue.
on air. They did not forget about you.
It was quite good.
It was good.
I didn't know it was gonna be so whipped creamy.
That's not whipped cream. That's
Miracle Whip.
That's meringue. That's what
Miracle
that is.
Whip.
I didn't know it was gonna be so meringue.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So one of my favorite things to do is I like playing. I like fantasy casting movies, right? And one of the movies that I think is such a great movie because it has a great ensemble and overall it's a fun movie, right?
Avatar.
Is Get Out of My
The
Life.
Last Airbender.
Get out. Oh yes.
The movie. Yeah, you said you heard it here first. Link thinks The Last Airbender has a great ensemble.
Yeah. You get me? You got Dave Patel, Gabriel's favorite actor.
Gabriel's favorite actor.
We've made up.
Okay.
Right. One of my favorite movies I enjoy because it's such a
Was
great
it the
cast.
Green Knight? The Green Knight
is Ocean's 11. Right. And if you've never seen Ocean's 11, check
I prefer
it out.
12.
Check it 11, 12, 13. Check them out. You get me?
That sounds like a joke, but it's actually true.
They're fun heist movies that you can watch. And the cool thing about them is that they have big, popular actors playing this team of, I don't know what to call them, criminals, robbing from the rich.
Thieves.
There you go. Thieves. Hey, that's better.
Criminal masterminds.
So what I wanted to do is I wanted to recast the cast of Ocean's 11, right? But with athletes, right?
Right.
So in Ocean's 11, you have a great cast. And one of those, let me get my phone really quick, right? You have George Clooney. You have Julia Roberts. I don't know how that one's going to work out. But you have...
They're female athletes?
Yeah, you're right. I just realized afterwards.
What was
I realized
that about?
afterwards, yeah. I'm like, you can just gender swap sometimes, too.
Why would we? There's one
No,
female role and we're going to cast a guy in it?
For some of the guys, you can also gender swap.
Okay.
You have Matt Damon.
Good save.
Thanks. Brad Pitt, Andy Garcia, who is the villain in the first one. You have Bernie Mac, Casey
spoiler.
Affleck. You have, I don't know his name.
Scott Kahn?
Quinn Xiaobo, the Asian guy, the
Maybe this was a bad idea.
Why is this a bad idea? Why are you shutting it down, sir? Yes, and me. Come on,
Oh,
sir.
yes,
I
and.
expect professionalism.
He is-
This is a team sport. We have that Mamba mentality. Yes, and.
Goal!
There you go.
Y George Clooney pasa para
Alright.
Brad Pitt.
Julia Roberts.
Nada está pasando, pero yo todavía estoy hablando.
We have Elliot Gold, Scott Kahn, which now I just realized is James Caan's son.
Yeah.
And you have Carl Reiner.
Jinx. Link.
Carl Reiner, right?
Carl Reiner. It's Reiner.
Rainer.
He's not
He's a
related
legend.
to...
All right, so 11 athletes is what you're saying.
You know what's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Plus Julia Roberts.
7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know who the other ones are because I can't recognize them.
Yeah, Don Cheadle. Did you put Don Cheadle?
Oh, but Don Cheadle's all the way down here. You're right. Why is he all the way?
I don't think
You
these
may-
are
Not
all
even
the
on
11.
the list.
Is there original Ocean's 11?
No, this is.
Yeah, it's a...
No, but it has.
You mean like an original movie that's
Yeah.
based on? Yeah, it's a Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, that's probably what those people
You're
are.
right.
And all his
no,
friends,
not.
Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr.
You're right. 2001.
Yeah.
So that Google does not get confused.
Oh, is that where you were at? You were looking at
Yes.
Danny Ocean, played by Frank Sinatra?
No, George Clooney.
He was looking at every actor that's in those
the
movies.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I don't see Don Cheadle's character,
Whatever. We know Don Cheadle's in it.
and we know Don Cheadle's in it. All right.
Are we just... But all three of us are making an 11?
Yeah, man, we're producers. You get me? We're a team sport because movies are a team sport.
I'll just hire James Gunn to do it.
Exactly. Are you gonna? Are you gonna dye your hair all white and beard all white?
No, I think that's natural. I don't think he does it.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. I envy him. I wish I had all white beard and hair. All right, so it's George Clooney, right? He is the. Would you say he is the main character?
Yeah, he's the leader.
He's the leader.
Danny Ocean.
Which athlete would you cast as Danny Ocean, as George Clooney's character?
I know you gave us this prompt like with 24 hours notice, but I hadn't put any actual thought into it.
Do you have someone?
No.
I think I have someone,
All right.
and I think it's. I don't want to say it. I don't like this guy.
Ronda Rousey.
He is my enemy.
You, Tom Brady?
I think Tom Brady.
You'd put Tom...
Wow.
I think Tom Brady, out of modern athletes, Tom Brady would
Okay.
be the Danny Oceans.
Isn't this what I said?
Yeah, you did, and I agreed with you.
Okay.
I think
I'm
Tom
agreeing
Brady
with you.
would be here.
Mhm.
He would play George Clooney's character,
Okay. Danny Ocean.
Danny Ocean.
Not
right?
Frank Ocean.
All right, not Frank Ocean.
Is it because of he's a quarterback?
I think it's because he's, in this movie, the leader here, George Clooney, is the oldest one here, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady's like one of the eldest athletes that's still playing.
So not Brett Favre.
No, not Brett Favre. Come on, we go for A quality, not steal from the poor quality.
I feel like we don't have enough time to unpack
Yeah,
that. So
we don't have
continue. All right.
All right. So who's gonna play Julia Roberts? Is she part of the one of the?
Now Ronda Rousey? No? Are we?
I mean,
Nah.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm just
female
kidding. This let's not put. I've seen her act. Let's not put. Sorry, Rhonda, if you hear this ever.
And she's coming after
I
you.
think you're great.
Mm.
You're fantastic.
Female.
I'm gonna break that arm of yours.
That's already broken.
Female athletes.
Serena Williams.
Serena Williams?
Ooh, yes.
That's a good
no,
one.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
You have one of the greatest of all times.
That's right.
Okay.
Oh, that. I loved the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Now we go to Matt Damon's character. Don't know his name.
Matt Damon's the rookie, right?
He is the youngest one, right?
He's the rookie, right? He's the one.
Yeah. He's like, oh, what's going on? We're robbing? Is this what we do now? We rob? Oh, I'm a pickpocket, but.
Okay, so we Goofy.
Oh, shucks.
Goofy here is gonna.
Oh, shucks.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
What is it?
So Matt
So
Damon.
Clarabelle, why did you leave me for another cow?
Goofy's a cow.
I think so,
I thought
actually.
Goofy
Because he was a
dog.
dog.
Yeah, but so apparently.
If he was a dog that has a dog.
apparently there's controversy that because I always wondered why would a dog be with Clarabelle Cow and then she leaves him for Horseshoe?
Horace?
Yeah, Horace. That's what I said. And then apparently he might be a cow,
No, okay.
and it kind of checks out.
Interesting.
Okay,
All right.
but he's not in this movie.
So Matt Damon. Who plays Matt Damon? Which athlete plays Matt Damon?
And which athlete plays Matt?
I feel like
Damon?
that's somebody young and that's good.
Joe Burrow.
That's an option.
I'm gonna be honest. I understood Joe Biden, and I was like, I don't think you understand this game.
Maybe I don't. No, Joe Burrow's the
Joe Burrow. I was thinking of Mbappe.
kid.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
I was thinking about
Mbappe's
Pat.
young.
I was
Okay,
thinking about
Mbappe.
Pat McAfee.
We already have a quarterback. Mbappe.
Mbappe. Okay, Mbappe.
Pat McAfee's not a quarterback.
What about Brad Pitt? Who?
Did you think Pat McAfee was a quarterback?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about Joe Burrow.
Oh, Joe Burrow. He's a quarterback for who?
The Bengals.
The Bengals.
All right.
He just lost.
They just
Cincinnati.
lost. All right. What about Brad Pitt? Who plays Brad Pitt?
Right hand man.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Cool Hand Luke.
Scottie Pippen.
Not Tony Kukoc.
The Tom Brady?
Does it have to be another football player?
No, it doesn't have to be a football player.
I was just thinking like right hand man. I think like
Right-hand man.
Scottie Pippen was
Let's
like
go crazy with like some other
Okay.
random sport. Like,
Apollo Ono.
that's my vote. I vote for
Okay.
Apollo.
They
Ono.
both have long. Okay, Apollo Ono. All right, who's the villain? Who plays Andy Garcia? You know what? This should have been Tom Brady right here.
yeah, you
No,
messed
I got
up.
you.
He's
I know
older.
I know who plays Andy Garcia. Bill Belichick.
Too old. Not suave enough.
Who is old and suave and
I mean, he doesn't have to be that old. Because Andy Garcia's not that old.
yeah, exactly.
So older.
Mm.
Hmm.
That's what I would put
Pat,
Hulk
someone.
Hogan.
Pat Riley?
No, not Pat.
Pat
We
Riley.
do not disrespect Pat Riley.
But Andy Garcia is going to have a baby face turn in the second one. So,
maybe Pat Riley.
yeah, exactly. He joins the crew. Like,
That'll work. That'll work.
Okay, that'll work. Pat
Yeah.
Riley.
all right, finally got one cast.
Now we go to Bernie Mac. Who plays Bernie Mac? He's a funny guy, right?
Oh, funny guy.
I think of Marshawn.
Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch,
That's a good
right?
one.
Okay, that is a good one.
That's a good one.
All right. Now, Casey Affleck. Who plays Casey Affleck?
He's like what tech guy?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he's the tech guy.
Him. He has a brother, right? The other brother is
Is Scott Conn.
Yeah, they're twins,
Casey Affleck.
but they don't look the same. How about we cast them like the twins? Or they're twins?
Do you know any athletes that are twins?
There's brothers.
I'm starting to think I don't know any athletes.
Yeah,
There's brothers.
they are brothers.
Steph and Seth.
Steph and Steph. All right. So Casey Affleck's played by Steph Curry.
Yeah.
No,
and
I think
Scott
we should.
Conn is played by Seth Curry.
Okay, I'm sorry to poo-poo on this, but I think the brothers shouldn't be related, just like Affleck and Scott Conn. Like they should be different, and you should make them as different as possible, just for the sake of this exercise. And they should play it like brothers, like they're brothers, and you're like, one's really tall, one's
All
really
right. So
small.
one of them is Casey Affleck, Steph Curry,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And then
Scott
it's Klay
Conn.
Thompson.
Klay Thompson.
All right, there you go. Why do you guys keep calling him Seth Curry?
It's
Seth and
the-
Steph.
They're brothers.
Oh, they're
yeah.
brother. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Now, who plays the? How do you call it?
I would have said that was Mbappe.
The Gymnast?
Contortionist?
Contortionist, yeah. Maybe Simone Biles could do this one.
Yeah, I think so.
Simone
Good.
Biles would
We
be perfect.
gender swap, we race swap.
Exactly.
But we keep in the gymnast line. Good. I like
All
it.
right. Elliot Gould. Who plays Elliot Gould?
The
The older investor.
Yeah.
Ross's father.
From
On
Friends.
Yeah. Not Belichick because he's too likable. Elliot Gould's too likable.
Yeah.
This is guys on the team.
LeBron.
Yeah, what?
I mean, we kind of have to add LeBron to this.
Okay. Oh, we're running out of. I was thinking he gets a no.
I don't even know who else is on this movie.
Well, what about with the Elliot Gould part? How about we give it to Shad Khan, Tony Khan's father?
We'll give it to
owner
Tony.
of
We'll
the
give it to Tony.
Jacksonville-
We'll give it
why
to
isn't
Tony
the villain?
Khan.
The villain should have been Vince.
Oh.
Who did we give the villain to? Pat Riley. All right, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
We're
Okay,
gonna do
Vince
that. Pat
McMahon.
Riley.
No baby face turn.
Pat,
Yeah.
Pat Riley is Elliot Gould.
Yes.
Yeah.
Andy Garcia is Vince McMahon.
No. Vince gets a babyface turn, and then he just betrays us at the end, like Magneto in X2, X-Men United.
Yes.
All right.
Who's gonna play Don Cheadle?
How many more characters does he have left for
That's you got
LeBron?
me there. I have no
he has-
idea.
How about LeBron just plays himself in this movie? We insert LeBron into the movie because his ego is so big that he can only play.
We're robbing from LeBron's house, like that movie.
Oh, like House Party?
like House Party.
I'm gonna be there on day one.
The movie already came out.
Oh, I'm gonna be there on day one at home, which it's also already out.
All right, so the heist is we're going to LeBron's house and we're stealing his rings to take him back. Because he promised us 5, right? And he has 4, and he promised us 5.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take the 2 he got, one from Cleveland and one from the Lakers.
Bro, you just sold
Lakers.
me on this movie.
Man, did I? What? We are a great team.
Yeah. All right. That's Ocean's 11. Do you have a different name, or that's just
Ocean Sports.
okay? All right.
All right, guys. I guess one of the quickly before we end, I wanted to ask you guys what are your predictions for the Super Bowl, NBA championships? Who do you think is gonna win all that?
The Chiefs.
Gabriel, you're going for the Chiefs? It's between the Super Bowl is between the Eagles and the Chiefs. You're going for the?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Eagles.
You gonna go Eagles?
I think Chiefs are the favorite, right?
I think
I think they have the most experience, but I think the Eagles have a better record.
Honestly, I think the Eagles are gonna win, but I'm going for the Chiefs.
I'm going for the Chiefs. I like Mahomes, and I'm
not going for either because someone taught me. I was kind of when I did my neutral question earlier. Like I used to always be like, okay, I'm going for them, and then I had like my sports mentor who was like, you don't have to go for any of them. If your team's not in it, you just stay loyal. You don't support the finals.
Okay.
You're not gonna watch the Super Bowl?
Well, he doesn't. I'm not that stringent, but he like literally wouldn't watch the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't think you like football.
You know, I've known you my whole life, majority of my life.
Yes.
Who is your sports mentor?
That's Lewis.
Oh.
Yeah, he literally doesn't watch the Super Bowl when the Dolphins don't make it. So I guess he hasn't seen the Super Bowl.
No, he
in
doesn't.
Like
No, you're
20
wrong.
years.
You're wrong. He doesn't watch the Super Bowl when the Patriots make it.
Oh, that too, especially.
So I appreciate that.
I remember there were years it was like Jacksonville versus who? I don't even remember. I want to say San Diego. That might have never happened. Exactly, but it was like, oh, if you don't care about either team, like you don't have to pretend.
Okay. What about NBA championships? Who do you got winning?
Who's good?
I'm gonna go with the Miami Heat. My boy Pat Riley.
I'll go with that too.
What about you, George? Which team are you rooting for?
You're gonna Miami Heat, really? I feel like I have to say it too then.
Right?
Yeah. I'm so divorced for like if we have a chance, then that's what I'm going for. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we always have a chance. We have Jimmy Butler. We have him.
All right, then that's why.
We have Tyler Hero. We got Bam.
I don't even know if we're in season.
And if we get in a fight, guess what? We have Haslam, who's ready to fight anyone.
Still there?
He's still there, baby. I think he's retiring this season.
I think you were trying to explain to my wife that Udonis Haslam is a famous person.
I was trying to. So my sister, yesterday asked who's the greatest athlete of all time from Miami, right? And the obvious answers are Dan Marino, Dwayne Wade, not Don Shula.
Don Cheadle.
Not Don Shula. Bob Greasy, right?
I thought he said Don Cheadle.
And in my mind, like although he's not as popular,
Ring of Honor.
he's not as good as some of these athletes. Statistically, you got to put
The Rock.
Udonis Haslam up there. Like the guy was raised in Miami, played high school in Miami, had to go to University of Florida to play, but then was undrafted here. He's a hometown hero, right? He's still playing. Like whereas Wade left for 2 years and then came back, Haslam never left us. And I'm explaining this to my sister, and then she just looks at me and goes, "Who?
Who's Udonis Haslam?
Who's Udonis Haslam?" And that's at that moment when I realized, yeah, I agree.
Do you agree with Udonis Haslam?
I don't agree with this. No.
But yeah.
All right, WrestleMania.
Now what about WrestleMania? We love wrestling here.
That's right.
Who do you think's gonna win?
I don't know who's there.
I don't even know.
Cody Rhodes.
Yep, Cody Rhodes, baby.
You going for Cody Rhodes to win the undisputed
Universal WWE Championship. We'll say that 3 times fast.
You going for Cody?
I think so.
Going for my boy Sami Zayn.
Good luck.
Is he fighting?
I don't think so.
I don't know what's going to happen with that.
He's probably going to fight Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber in his hometown of Montreal, Canada. I don't know if he'll fight him. I think he might. If they're smart. And they're not, so probably he won't. But I don't think he's going to win, dude. But hey, man, you like to root for the underdog.
Exactly. I'm a Dolphins fan. We're always underdogs.
All right.
Okay, so that's it.
Yeah.
Those are our predictions. That was sports in a nutshell.
We are a sports team right now. We're the big 3. Along with Leanne and Danny.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
It's like that.
I thought that was the end of the episode.
Wait,
It just
wait.
keeps going. All right, go ahead.
It's like that painting with God and Adam.
Yeah, I thought that was Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho.
God and Adam right there.
Do you know what the name of that painting is?
The finger. Pull my finger. Is that not what it's called?
No.
Pull my finger.
It's called Creation. Keep searching.